Okay. Ghost, now is not your time to shine. Hi. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Why the fuck do I keep saying that? Oh my gosh. Okay, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you've never been here before. Today, I thought that I would switch it up a bit and talk about some horror books that I want to read. I love talking about books, I love reading, and I have quite a list on my TBR, but specifically some big boys that I want to hit for my spooky TBR. So, without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it. So, I'm gonna go ahead and start off with some classics. So, I've already read some pretty classic horror books like Frankenstein and Phantom of the Opera, but there are more that I want to delve into that are more pinnacle, you gotta read this at least once in your life type of books. And one of them being The Turn of the Screw by Henry James. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but I am a big fan of The Haunting of Bly Manor, okay? I have also just recently watched and reacted to The Others with Nicole Kidman, 2001. And that was sort of, not really adapted from, but I guess a little bit of inspo came from The Turn of the Screw, as was The Haunting of Bly Manor. So those are all movie adaptations that I really enjoyed. And so I figured I have to eventually get around to reading the actual book. It is very short, and this also has another story, I think, called The Aspen Papers. This is how big The Turn of the Screw is. This is The Aspen Papers. So yeah, I'm excited to get around to this one eventually in my life. Okay, next is one that I actually bought the book just because I thought the cover was amazing. And I've mentioned this before in the past in my movie reactions, but that is Dracula by Bram Stoker. By Bram Stoker. Of course, this is your classic vampire story. This is like the book that people think of when they think of a classic, the OG vampire story. But I do know that there is a book, Carmilla. I forget who the author is, the Carmilla that actually came out before that and inspired Dracula. So eventually I would be down to get around to Carmilla. Part of me wants to read that one first if that's the OG, but Dracula is also a very good, I mean, okay, it's not too long. It's about 450-ish pages. It's just bigger books, just scare me. They take me 20 years to read, but eventually I will get around to it and finish it. So, Dracula, I'm coming for you soon one day. All right, now let's get into, some might say, the king of horror novels. And that is none other than Stephen King. I've never read a single thing by Stephen King ever in my life. I love the movie adaptations. That's pretty much where the extent of my knowledge is. It, Pennywise, one of my favorite movies, my favorite villain. I will say this, I'm not gonna read the book, okay? There's no reason for me to read like a 1,000-page book. All right, and I heard there's some weird, unnecessary scenes in there, so I'm not down to read it. One that I am interested in reading is Pet Sematary. Now, I just said that fucking Dracula was a thickie. This one is a thickie. We're sitting at 560 pages. That's a lot. I know the story is very well. It's actually been a hot minute. I don't know if I've actually seen even the movie all the way through. I know that it's about a family whose cat dies. They bury it in the cemetery. Cat comes back to life. So when the family's son dies. They're like, hey, if we bury him in the cemetery where apparently animals are coming back to life, maybe he'll come back to life. And he does, and chaos ensues. That's all I know about this. I don't really know how it ends. I know that there was a remake in 2019. Let me know if you read the book, the OG, and the remake. Which one of those three is your favorite? Because I'm curious about the story. The book is usually very different than the movie. Okay, with that is actually a book that I started to read, but let's just say there are other books that was piquing my interest a little bit more than this one, and I am talking about Joyland by Stephen King. I liked the premise of this. It's just about this guy named Devin Jones. He takes a summer job at Joyland, and it just says he ends up facing something far more terrible: the legacy of a vicious murder, the fate of a dying child. How, don't remember that part. And dark truths about life and what comes after. Yeah, I just like the setting of it being in a carnival, and I'm a sucker for this cover. I am a fan of covers that look like they're a painting, you know what I mean? Kind of like an oil painting of some sort, old 80s vibes. I'm excited to read this one. I actually did, as you can see, kind of read it. I didn't get very far, but one day I will finish it. But I am excited because I already like fun house, carnival type of theme, and that seems to be the setting for this. I'm intrigued. So I kind of went down a rabbit hole of trying to discover what Stephen King's to read first, you know, because I have a couple on my list already that I know I want to read, but I was watching some videos and people were suggesting to start off with specific books because they kind of give you, it's like a little kiss, a light smooch of what Stephen King's writing style is, and with that you can kind of determine if it's something you want to continue with, you know. And one of them being Night Shift. All right, now this is a collection of short stories, so as you can see it's pretty thick. I have been really interested in reading this. See, the thing about Stephen King is I know that his books are long. Pretty much all of them are thickies, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what I liked about this, is that it's a short story collection, so I can just read a couple at a time and it will be okay, you know what I mean? I won't feel intimidated to have to finish the entire book because it's a bunch of short stories, so I can just finish one story and be done with it, you know what I mean? So I guess this one is one of his best short story collections. I know there's also Skeleton Key, but with the videos I was watching, Night Shift is the one that was heavily recommended. So if you want to watch that video that I'm talking about, I'll leave it in the description. I'm excited to read this one. Again, I kind of want to read this one along with Dracula more towards fall time, but it's not the biggest deal if I read it sooner. Obviously, I would love to read it at any point in time, but spooky books are just a lot more spookier to read in the fall time during Halloween. So, and lastly is one that I don't know if I've ever heard bad things about this one. I mean, I probably have. But I mean, out of all of the YouTube videos that people are recommending or ranking Stephen King, this one seems to always be high on the list, and that is Salem's Lot. Now, this is a classic OG King novel. Again, I mean, do you see? That's a thick one. I'll tell you that much. It's pretty hefty. 600 and oh wait, that's the epilogue. Oh my gosh, the epilogue is like a whole nother book. Hello. 639 pages. I say it like that was any better than what I was saying before. Just like 650 pages. Now, I've heard, like I said, many people have been saying that this one is very, very good. I genuinely don't know what this is about. Ben Mears has returned to Jerusalem's lot in the hopes that living in an old mansion, long the subject of town lore, will help him cast out his own devils and provide inspiration for his new book. But when two young boys venture into the woods and only one comes out alive, Mears begins to realize that there may be something sinister at work and that his hometown is under siege? Siege? Have I never said that word out loud my entire life? Siege. Okay, I actually need to look up how to pronounce this because I feel like I should. I feel like I should know how to fucking pronounce this word. Siege. Oh my gosh, do you guys know that they have that now? They have like the person mouthing it, which is kind of creepy. Watch. Siege. I don't know if I like that. That's kind of creepy. Okay, siege by forces of darkness for beyond his control. Okay, so I feel like that's kind of a common trope for horror is the main character is an author. But this is an older Stephen King, so let's hope that it was good. Oh, and even has okay, it has a thing of from Shirley Jackson, The Haunting of Hill House, like a little quote from the book The Haunting of Hill House. That is another book that I would love to read. Pero see, this seems like the type of book where I'm gonna have to read the fucking prologue and epilogue. You know, if it's important enough, then just put it in the book. Why you gotta make it just another outside section, epilogue or prologue? Just start the book off like that. You know what I mean? Anyways, those are all the books that I am looking forward to. If you have any more spooky, classic, just any type, not even just King, just any type of horror novel, let me know. Or any just good ones, let me know. Because I definitely want to get into reading more horror books and talking about them on this channel. So let me know, because I would love to read more of them and to hear your guys' opinion. And along with that, I want to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons, and especially to Matt O'Keefe and AJ, who are Spook suppliers. Thank you so much, guys. And remember to go ahead and check out my Patreon if you haven't already. Thank you for coming along with me on this very short journey. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all of that jazz, and as always, thanks for watching.